What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got a couple of black option cards that we need to talk about, one of which looks kind of fun, and one of which looks kind of fun. Now, our translations here do come from the lovely folks over at the Ensan Gaming channel, as well as the lovely folks over on DigimonCard.dev, and if you follow this particular channel for Digimon content, you will realise that they are probably my two favourite Digimon sources of information. Could not recommend either of them highly enough. So we're going to start off with the one that was just revealed this morning on Twitter. We have got Catastrophe Cannon. Oh no, it's a catastrophe, etc. So what have we actually got? Well, it is a 4-cost option card, which is... it's about what you pay for a tamer. It's about middling. I don't like paying 4 costs for an option a lot of the time, because remember, if you're paying an option card, you're not paying a Digimon, which means you don't have something in play ready to attack, Digivolve, all of that good stuff. But is it worth it? Well, what you do is you choose one of your opponent's Digimon and de-Digivolve 2. Remember, that's where you trash cards from the top of that Digimon, in this case 2 of them. So you take a level 6 down to a level 4. It's a pretty nice skill. Wouldn't pay 4 memory for it. If, however, you have a Diabolomon in play, you put a Diabolomon token into play without paying its cost. Yay! As a security card, you just activate the main effect, de-Digivolve, and get the token, and all of that good stuff. Oh! And now I take another look at this, and I go, yeah, you know what? That actually is worth the 4 memory. I'm in, ladies and gentlemen. I am all the way in. This is good. This is absolutely good. It's just another way to get these tokens into play. For what it's worth, there are other option cards that will de-Digivolve. That was a good time. You de-Digivolve 1, and if the play cost is 4 or lower, you destroy it. Spider Shooter is a 3 cost that de-Digivolves 1. Well, this is a 4 cost that de-Digivolves 2. So actually, if you put it side by side with Spider Shooter, it's actually better than that card. But you then also get the other effect, so it does seem pretty good. Now, of course, the giant question here is, well, if I don't have a Diabolomon in play, but I do have a Diabolomon token in play, do I still get to put a Diabolomon token in play? And I'm fairly sure the answer to this question is yes. And the reason is, we've got a whole bunch of cards which are basically tailor-made to support Diabolomon. So you could take something along the lines of... let's go Keramon, for instance, the one from BT2. On your turn, when you play another Digimon with the same name as this Digimon, you draw a card. Well, we know that works with when you play a Diabolomon token, because that's kind of the point. The whole point of Keramon is to draw a card when you play a token. That's kind of where you're going with this. So, I mean, it'll probably be in the FAQ, I would imagine, when the set drops next month. But I refuse to believe it won't work in that regard. I could be wrong. If you think I am, let me know your reasoning in the comment section. But I feel pretty confident this will work with just a Diabolomon token in play. And what you're essentially doing here is just playing another Diabolomon token, bearing in mind we've seen a whole bunch of awesome cards in this particular set, which pretty much seem focused around getting Diabolomon tokens into play. So, for instance, we've seen Infirmon, that's got an inheritable skill that when deleted, you play a Diabolomon token without paying its memory cost, which honestly seems pretty good to me. And then we've got Diabolomon, that when you Digivolve into it, you play a Diabolomon token without paying its cost. And Arata Sonata, that is a tamer, that when you Digivolve into Diabolomon, you can suspend it to play a Diabolomon token without paying its cost. Not to mention, of course, the original Diabolomon, that when it attacks, you get to play a Diabolomon token without paying its cost. My point is here that this is blatantly just another way to do this. And certainly Diabolomon seems like a much better proposition in BT5 than it was before, and this card is only going to help that. Honestly, the D-Digivolve 2 is nice. take a level 7 down to a level 5 or something along those lines. It's a cool effect, and we've seen Spider Shooter as a fun little card. But Spider Shooter isn't some kind of must-play in every single black deck. And I think if all this was a 4-cost D-Digivolve 2, I don't think this would be a must-play in every deck either. But now you get to play a token as well, a Diabolomon token, and I'm in. And I'm fully aware that you need to have a Diabolomon in play, but I'm also fully aware that the Digimon TCG is a game with little to no hand disruption. And what that means from a gameplay standpoint is that I can essentially just chill. I draw this card, I don't have the memory, or I don't have a Diabolomon in play, or I just don't want to play it right now, so I hold it. And I keep it in my hand, and at some point in the future, I will be able to play that, and that will be fine. That sounds alright to me, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's got to be something you're considering. Because bearing in mind, right, if we take a look at BT5, one of the other cards we've seen that I'm pretty excited about along these lines is Kurosarumon? Chrysalismon? I don't know. It's an awkward one to pronounce, alright? And all your other Digimon with the same name as this Digimon gain Rush. So this is one of those ones, if you've Digivolved this into Diabolomon, all your Diabolomon tokens get Rush. So not only does this 4-cost option card let you play a Diabolomon token, which incidentally is good, but if you've got a Digimon or a Diabolomon that's Digivolved from Chrysalismon, you get to attack with it the same turn you play it as well. Tell me this doesn't sound like fun, ladies and gentlemen. This seems like it is absolutely begging to be played in these black decks. And it's a really specific card, right? This ain't being played in every black deck. I don't think this is going to see much play for the D-Digivolve 2 at all. I don't think that's the hook here. Again, if you disagree, there's a comment section, go nuts, be nice. But I absolutely do think that this is going to be one of those cards that if you're playing this new style of Diabolomon deck, you don't really have much of a choice here. You've basically got to. I'm giving it 4 Wassies because it's still kind of expensive. You still need Diabolomon on the field. It's still only really for Diabolomon decks. But I do believe that in the right deck, this can be absolutely stupid over the top good. Consider me a fan, ladies and gentlemen. Consider me a fan. But wait, there's more. There's a random blue option card we've not talked about yet, and that makes me a little bit sad. So what we've got here is Absolute Blast. It is a 6-cost blue option card that does the same thing as a security card that it does as its main effect. And what it does is trash the Digivolution card at the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon, and then return one of your opponent's Digimon without any Digivolution cards to the bottom of its owner's deck. Now, look, straight off the bat, just getting rid of one Digivolution card from one of your opponent's Digimon, no. Absolutely not. It's not good enough. It's not gonna work. It is absolutely not worth it. I mean, if you really want to play Heart's Attack, which trashes all Digivolution cards under one of your opponent's Digimon for half the cost. So I suppose it's nice for them to kind of chuck us a little bit of a bone here and give us this extra little effect, but make no mistake about it, this first effect is not a reason to play the card. But being able to return one of your opponent's Digimon without any Digivolution cards to the bottom of their owner's deck, yes. Now I'm in, ladies and gentlemen. Now I am absolutely in. Essentially, what this does is it just takes your opponent's biggest threat with no evolution sources off of the field. And I know it goes to the bottom of their deck, but to be super clear, it's not going to come back. Like, we don't have shuffle effects in Digimon. We don't shuffle our deck, like, ever. So, basically, that means that it's staying on the bottom of our deck. And we don't have cards that draw from the bottom of our deck, which means it's staying on the bottom of our deck. So, it's essentially removing it from the game. And as much as I like this, I've got to put it side by side with the 7-cost Cocytus Breath that came around in the starter deck, which as a 7 cost returns one of your opponent's Digimon to its owner's hand, trashing all the Digivolution cards of that Digimon. And I know you're putting it into their hand rather than putting it on the bottom of their deck, but it's 1 memory more, and it can target any of your opponent's Digimon. And of course, yes, fine, you can put that level 7 back into their hand. What are they going to do? Hard cast it for 15 memory? I mean, the answer might be yes. But it's unlikely. I mean, obviously, playing this when your opponent's got a level 6 on the field ready to Digivolve up is arguably not the best play ever. But then again, I might not want to get rid of my opponent's Omnimon because I know they can just Digivolve again and it's got a great Digivolution skill. But how likely is it that they are going to have an Omnimon with no Digivolution cards? I would suggest not that often. If you're playing one of those blue decks that aggressively goes after your opponent's Digivolution cards and plays all of these Digimon like we saw in the blue starter deck, like for instance Gabumon, like for instance Garurumon, that really do go hard into removing your opponent's Digivolution sources, in those specific decks, I can see a use for this, but I'm still not loving it as a 6 cost. Outside of those decks, I don't like it at all. I'm giving it between 2 and 3 Wassleys. We don't give half Wassleys. That would be barbaric. I was pretty excited about the black option card we looked at in this particular video. My excitement level for this option card is significantly lower. But I'd like to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching Wassy Plays.